Hello and welcome to ReCall The Midwife. Today we are recording a special delivery episode. For series 10, there wasn't actually an episode 8. There was a special 10-year anniversary episode called Special Delivery. And today we watched it and we're talking about it. I'm Alex.
I'm Becky.
I'm Jen, and no trigger warning this week because it was all just nice, lovely recaps of the series so far.
It was really emotional, guys. I was really emotional watching it. I think it's because I'm really, really hormonal. But some of the scenes they just showed you were just outstanding that you just forget.
I was not into this episode.
Really? Why?
Which is really hypocritical of me because it was basically as if the cast was recording our podcast where they just talk about Call The Midwife.
Yeah. I did think they're missing us. Why did you like it? It felt like a waste of programming. To be fair, I will say it was the year of COVID.
So do you think they were just trying to fill for time?
Yeah, I think maybe there might have been some problem with filming. Maybe they went down in a bubble.
Maybe there was an outbreak.
Yeah. So they just had to kind of make one up. And also it was fortuitous that it was 10 years. So they thought, right, we've got some... Because also, not all that talking head stuff was from this series, was it? A lot of that talking head stuff was from well before as well, when Sister Evangelina was in it, when Winifred was in it. Yeah.
And I will say, you guys may already know this, but my sister works in film production, and one of the things that they had to have during COVID was like a special staff member that was like a COVID like coordinator.
Yes.
And so I wonder if it also might have been a cost and, everything, because if there was stuff that they had to do, like special quarantines and things like that for, the cast and then extra staff that they had to pay for like production and everything, that it might have just been one of those things where it was like, let's just do a montage for like financial reasons as much as anything else. So, just gotta wonder. Like, it's still a business after all, all this. So
also, we got to see the Queen herself, Heidi Thomas, talk.
Yeah. And we've already seen her talk in person.
We have it. I felt like I was back in that hall in where was it? Cheltenham?
Cheltenham, yeah. Cheltenham Historical Festival.
Yeah. But basically it was just a lot of talking heads, wasn't it? Of things they liked about the show. And basically you're right, it was a bit like our podcast. So you're a big hypocrite. Also, it showed every single one of the midwives. I really like that.
Yes, they did like little introductory, like, hi, Valerie Dyer, like Army National Corps. What can I do to help? Like, they had little clips of everybody saying their names.
You forget how many there were. There actually have been as well, though, don't you?
Loads and loads.
See what I love as well? The accent of Lucille in real life.
I was literally going to say this.
Yeah.
Cyril and Lucille, when you watch them and listen to, I don't know, I mean, obviously that wasn't going to be their real accent in the show, but I don't know why it shocked me so much when I heard their real accents.
I think it's because I've never heard them before. Jen, what did you think of Cyril's accent? The world wants to know.
I liked it actually. Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, they're both just not just, but they're both just regular British people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucille especially was, I don't know, I think they both do the accents really, really well. So it just was quite shocking when they actually were just talking.
You know what shocks me?
Voice, yeah.
Go on.
Well, now this is going to sound bad, and I don't know if any of the actors listen, but often I think to myself, how much longer is Sister Monica Joan going to be in it?
Oh God. Well, also, did
She's
we love
89 in real life, to be fair now.
Did we love the reveal that she's like a huge perv?
Yes, I did. She's basically you.
No! Actually, when she said, like, because she had a scene where everyone was saying, like, what they would take from set, and she was like, oh, other than a few young men, I don't think I'd really take anything. And I was like, oh my God, you're such
I did think if that was a man, cancel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But really, when I thought like, oh, what would I take? Like, I was like, I just zoomed in my mind to Vi's shop. I was like, I just want to take all the haberdasherers supplies with me, like 1,000%. That's what I would take.
Should we talk about this bit now, the set design bit?
No, let me just say what I say about Sister Monica Joan. She looks so much younger, but it was probably filmed a while ago because you've just pointed out that all of the talking head stuff wasn't from like they looked back.
Yeah, technically it could have been 14 years ago.
Yeah. I think a couple of the interviews were current.
No, I think quite a lot of them were probably current.
Yeah.
But even so, it's still like, even if it was recorded then, it was still 4 years ago. She does, to be fair to her, she looks bloody good for 89.
She looks amazing.
Yeah.
The actress is 89?
Yeah.
That plays Monica Joan?
Well, hang on. I'm pretty positive. I Googled this at work the other day, and now I'm thinking I'm totally right.
Why did you Google it at work?
Because my friend at work was asking how old she was, and I said, I'm sure. Yeah, she's 89.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Can we talk about the fact that we saw Terry Coates, RM, the consultant midwife? That was exciting. I really like behind the scenes stuff. I find it so interesting. I think it was so exciting to see what she was saying about how, how she gives her advice and stuff. And I just think it's so interesting. Do you know what was the most interesting thing for me?
What?
Unsurprisingly, what do you think?
The most interesting thing for you was
What am I mega into?
Music. Oh, the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was loving it. Maurizio Malagnini, love it, the composer. But you know what I found really, really interesting? The orchestra scenes, they're all in masks, sadly. I felt really bad for them because they're on now finally on telly and they've all got to be in bloody masks. I thought, oh, so annoying. But I love the fact that the music's written with a story. So each, like, I loved it, like universal human language. I really like the way he was talking about that. But the way they score the birth scenes, like, so that he watches it, he times it, sees it, and then records accordingly. And then he has the screen and making sure it all matches. It was fascinating. It absolutely fascinated me. I thought that was so interesting. Because also, I don't know, maybe because of AI and stuff recently, but you just expect it to kind of be a bit like they've got some recordings and then they just mix it and they just add little bits. But no, they showed them actually playing it and they do a score for each bit. I thought that was so amazing. And it just shows you how much detail goes into each episode.
It did boggle my mind that, because I don't know why, but I just didn't think of them having a live orchestra recording specifically for the show. I just thought
me neither.
They just sample some bits of tracks together.
Yeah, I was absolutely gobsmacked, but I think it shows the quality of the programming. And I think that is why another reason, because obviously the writing, everything else, the acting, everything. But I think that just shows you another little detail that's just, again, quality that show, because obviously it's so emotive, the music as well. Like if you think about the actual music they use in birth scenes and stuff, when we're all sobbing, it is amazing and it really does add to it. And I just think I was gobsmacked at how, and I'm really impressed with it. Like, I don't think it's a waste. I think it's outstanding. I just think that it was brilliant. I really appreciate that.
Very
Were
good.
you going to ask us what we would take from set?
Well, I will do, but while we're on this now, I'll do it in order from like the episode. Okay. So they were like, could you deliver a baby? Right. I loved the answers. Mojo straight away was like, yes, I think I could. Judy Parfitt. I'm gonna have to call them by their actual character names.
I think that they all are to me, Mojo was like, you are so typecast. Like you are just like your character on the show. Like she was giving me major Monica Joan vibes. I'm like, yeah, no wonder. Yeah. Yeah.
And Val was like, kind of, probably, maybe I could. I know some of the tricks. I like the way that Helen Georgia plays Trixie was like, nah, mate. And Sister Julianne was like, I would do everything I could to get away.
She's like, even if I see a woman that looks like she's very pregnant, she's like, I just leave. She's like, I don't want to be around. I don't want to be around anything that could happen. I'm not here for it.
Well, we've asked this question to each other before. Obviously, I'm a no.
Yeah, I think I could. I basically think I can do anything in life.
Good for you.
Thank you. All I am is a YouTube tutorial away from doing anything.
Is this like me with those wooden shoes?
Yeah. I've been having discussions this weekend about how concrete in making a pizza oven.
Hang on, can I just say though, here, I went to stay with Becky last weekend in real life, behind the scenes of ReCall The Midwife, and me and Babs went down to stay with Bex, and it was ace. And I have seen some of Becky's handiwork because she's been doing some woodwork. She made a bench for her garden. It looks amazing. She made a bench for her brother's garden. It honestly is outstanding. She made this bin thing. Honestly, it's outstanding, really good. So she's right to think she can do these things because she can.
Yeah. Also, I can make you a bin store. I was going to say that to you.
Yes, please. Can I have one with flowers on top?
Yes, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And we'll post it on our ReCall The Midwife page.
Jen, do you think you could deliver a baby?
No, I don't. I do think that in a crisis situation, though, I would be a very good person to have there.
Yeah.
And what I would do is if I was absolutely compelled with no other better option in a situation such as that, I would do my best to be, I mean, I would obviously call 911 immediately. And like get
I'd bring an ambulance.
Yes, and I would have the lady from 911 on the phone with me be like, okay, this is happening, and like try to see if we can do like a relay of like people who actually know what they're doing and everything. But I would try my best to do my best as much as I could in the moment until true professionals came. And I would
like
only step in if I absolutely had to. Yeah.
I would get hot water and towels.
Yeah, I'm incredibly squeamish. I've overlooked that fact.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't think I'd know what to do. Like, when do you know contract? I just don't want to think about it.
Thing
I
is,
will.
I don't think if you're in an emergency situation like that, I think the body just does it.
Don't know.
Ma'am.
It does. That's why I'll be fine in that situation. I'll be like, just go with what you're feeling.
Now, I also didn't know if I agree with this. So they were talking about on this special delivery, that babies. They were saying that all viewers love the baby bits, right? Now,
Yep.
I'm going to be weirdly brutally honest. They're my least favorite bits because they're a bit yuck and a bit like
Which baby? I mean, I love the chunky babies in knitwear.
the births.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I gotta be honest. Every time I watch an episode with my mom, whenever the baby comes out and they like, not the when it's like covered in goop, like literally coming out of the body, but when they wrap it in a towel and then they do the close up of like the baby's face when they're like holding it in the towel, the blanket or whatever, and the baby's like, yum, yum, yum. Like, I always am like, oh, baby. And my mom is like, oh my gosh, look at this little sweetie baby. And like, we both have that moment. So yeah, I guess I am the target audience for that.
I mean, fresh, scrawny babies, not as good as a chunky knitted baby, are they?
I mean, I like them better when they're like all, like clean and cozy and cutie with like their little like outfits and watermelon bums and like all of that. And they look so cute and sweet like that. But
What's a
I love
watermelon
the
bum?
baby. When they just have those massive diapers on and they've just got like this like cute, like they have like a
Yeah,
little
I know what you mean.
watermelon
Yeah.
and then these little two pokey sticky leggies that come out and they just look absolutely massive. Yeah.
Now, there was another bit that happened next in this special delivery episode where they were talking about the fact that they're not afraid to look at the big issues, and they're not, right? But the way that Dr. Turner, I'm just going to go by their actual character names because it
That's
just
who
makes
they
it
are
easier
to
for me
us.
to remember.
We're not talking about real
And
people
the way he was like, we're not afraid to go with the big issues. And it was just very drama GCSE, the way they were talking. Like, when people are like, we're not afraid to spina bifida, tuberculosis, abortion, like it was just like some cringe. I was like, oh, this is actually weird. Like I was just, it
Well,
was awful.
people talk, I don't care who you are, people talking about how amazing the thing that they're doing is always to
Yeah.
me going to be off-putting. Like whenever I watch a thing, this happens a lot if you like watch press tours and stuff of like a movie that's coming out, where people are
Yeah.
like, tell me what it was like to be on set. And it's like, and especially if it's like not a
Wicked.
comedy
If it's
or
wicked, have you
anything
seen
like
them
that.
interviews?
Oh, and they're just like, I can't even begin to describe the beauty of like I have never met anyone in my life like, and it's just like, and like about two
Made a
seconds into
film.
that, I'm just like, nope,
We're
done,
all on a
done,
moving rock.
done,
Calm
done.
down.
Well,
Yeah.
also like you're not even going to talk to this person in 2 years. Like you don't even like you won't even know their name. You know what I'm saying? Like just don't like just stop pretending. Like, oh my God.
I will say though, so they did mention all the big topics they've done, and I was a bit like, actually, that is so right, because obviously it says spina bifida, tuberculosis, female genital mutilation, abortion, racism, thalidomide. All these are massive issues on a Sunday night for a show that makes you feel good. And I know we've said it before, like how do they actually manage to get that across in a lovely Sunday night wrapped up in a bow show that everyone feels lovely about?
I forgot how painful the genital mutilation episode was. Like when they
Yeah.
showed the clip of that and she was talking about that, I was like, "Oh God, this was so painful to watch." And like, I don't know, I still have incredibly like I have my own feelings about that whole topic and like it's like it's just but yeah, just oh my God, that was a really tough one. That was a really tough one for me.
Well, Stephen McGann then says that the storyline that his favourite to ever that's ever been done was the thalidomide story, saying how well done and accurate it was. And obviously, I think he's not taking credit because obviously it was his wife who was writing it. But also, as we've mentioned before, we know that she uses medical archives and everything, and how thorough she is and fastidious she is with her research. So to try and make it as accurate as possible. And he obviously was just backing that up. Basically, he's just backing our podcast up. That's just what he was doing. And but he was saying about his favourite scene, and they showed it, and it was Rhoda uncovering Susan for the first time. Oh, I forgot how emotive that scene was, and it was so well acted. And she was just like, "Oh, look at you, what a mess, eh?" But like full of love for her, and it was beautiful.
And they talked about the special effects, and
yes,
when they talked about that, I did see animatronic baby Susan.
Yeah.
And you could see that the actress who plays Susan, I don't know, it's almost like her head was in the middle of a.
Yeah.
They'd like
They've
she
like put it onto the
slops.
front of her or something, haven't they?
Yeah. It was very
Sarah
clever.
O'Farrell was the makeup and hair prosthetics designer. And I was really loving listening to her as well, talking about how they'd done it, how they were saying they'd done loads of, she said there was loads of research, Heidi had done loads, and spoken to loads of grown-up thalidomide babies because they'd never seen themselves as babies as well. And like loads of actual prosthetics experts they got in to actually make that, which I thought was amazing as well. Because also you got to think about the fact that millions and millions of people, did say that, millions of people watch this show. So it I'm there being surprised about the music, and I'm there being surprised about, getting an international prosthetics team in to sort out this prosthesis for Susan. But actually, it should be big budget because it's bloody popular. Millions and millions of people are watching.
Now, other favourite scenes. Chummy's favourite scene was the scene where the girl with Down syndrome gave birth.
Which was a very strange favourite scene, favourite scene. Yeah, it was really moving and incredibly well done and dark and all this, but your favourite?
Yeah.
Well, she did talk about the fact that it was because of her and Cynthia being together, or the actress that played Cynthia, and like what they had to do as as actresses, I think.
Yeah. And again, I think it's amazing how this show doesn't hide away from the serious big issues like that. And it was incredibly moving when they actually showed the scene and she was crying with the baby. It was incredibly moving. Then they also showed the moment that her and her mum died as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about all that. Yeah.
Also, I forgot what a great actress Randa Hart was.
Is.
You got to remember, over here, I don't know if she'd been in anything over there before, but she was just a comedian.
You're saying that she is. She's not dead.
No, but I mean, she's an actress and a comedian, I'd say. But before this show, she was just a comedian. Like, I'd never seen her act in anything. I suppose she did like acting in her comedy show, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think she was a serious actress before this. I'd never seen her in anything before.
It's just the way you're talking about her in the past tense.
No, everyone, she's alive. She's actually very happily married now. Everything's great.
Phyllis's favourite was the domestic violence episode where it's the little boy with the cutest little boy with the is, and him and his mum. But she was saying that the reason that was a favourite was because at the end of the story, when you see them get on the bus together and they're going to start a new life together.
Yeah, they were getting away from Leicester, weren't they?
Yeah, then Lucille talks about, now this is where they confused it because they were talking about their favourite scenes. Then Lucille starts talking about her favourite, and it was basically her arriving in the middle of the big freeze. And I was like, oh, she's a bit full of herself. But they were obviously talking about what was their favourite scene with them in it.
Yeah.
See, I thought that was
the two.
I thought that was an odd choice for her because in my mind I was like, well, you peaked early because then after that everything else was not as good as that, like
maybe she means the best.
I wonder if they
most one that stuck with her the most.
Yeah, like memorable or something like that.
Maybe it was her favourite to film.
Yeah.
It was my favourite episode to watch, The Big Freeze.
It was. I've written that.
Miss Higgins's favourite scene was the allotment scene after her heartbreak from Aubrey.
I know, absolutely love that.
I will say my friends just had a little girl and she's named her Aubrey.
Has she?
Yeah.
Ah,
that's very cute.
And now we've spoken about that scene before because we said that we loved the relationship between Miss Higgins and Phyllis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pinnacle of our. Can I just say also though, by the way, we've just missed a load of stuff here because we were talking about the big issue ones first.
Oh, sorry.
So there's ones. No, we'll just go back to it. But they were talking about the racism storyline.
Yeah, and I thought Lucille would have mentioned some. Oh no, because that's still to come.
Yeah. So May Stanton, she was talking about that storyline, and they were like, "Not pleased to see Lucille," and this is where I was so shocked at how Lucille's so British in her accent. It just blew me away. And then Val was talking about the FGM episode, and they were just talking about. Then they're talking about abortion in the ground and stuff. They were just talking about all the big issues there. But this is where we get to the set design bit, girls, before they start talking about the favourite episodes. So should we just do really quick the set design ones?
Yeah.
So what they would steal. So Sister Julienne, she said she would steal something from her office and she'd nick a tea set because they follow that through. And it made me think,
that idea.
What would you steal?
I would steal, when you go into the doctor's surgery, there's the big piece of furniture which has all the medical records in.
Do you know, I was going to predict that for you.
Yeah, that's what I'd have.
What would you have, Jen?
I I think I would go for something from Violet's shop. Like, I just love all the old notions and everything. I probably would go for buttons, maybe a pattern or two, some ribbons, some nice vintage ribbons. Just have a little, and then I would definitely get some few things from the newsagents. Yeah.
You
I had
wouldn't
you down for Tunnock's tea cakes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can get Tennessee cakes now, but yes, I would definitely. I want something like would be really
Can
hard
you
to
get
get. You know
Tunnock's
what I
tea
mean?
cakes over there?
I think I have gotten them here before. It's just they're crazy expensive. That's the reason why
Just
it's
saying,
not
there's a
worth.
parcel on the way. Just saying. So,
I mean, there's been a parcel on the way for about 18 months,
I think
but
you'll
there
find the
actually
parcel
is.
sent a few
There
weeks back.
actually is.
it
'Cause
actually was.
she asked me to verify your address.
Oh, okay.
And this happened
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, I'll be very excited to get it when it comes.
All I'm saying is
Um,
hashtag Horlicks as well. So,
would you not have a pair of Fred's overalls?
yeah, that's also a good one.
Oh, maybe a
Yeah.
knitwear.
Yeah.
I just really
Yeah.
want someone to knit stuff for me.
I
That'll
really
be
like
nice.
Trixie's perfume bottles, the vintage ones with the squirters.
Yeah.
I
Look,
like them.
That would be good.
So should we talk about which ones they want? So Jenny Late says she'd like to keep a uniform. I
yeah, and I
mean,
was just like, oh,
I suppose you could hang it up in your wardrobe.
yeah, but why do you want that? She just wants to be a bit kinky.
God.
Now, Sister Evangelina didn't actually answer the question. She just said that she pretends to live in the house and tries to think about what this would be. And she was like, "Oh, this is my downstairs." And I'm like, "What?" That was just weird. I think she was
Uh,
just I think she just that was her way of saying I don't like bloody anything.
Yeah, she's like, I don't need anything. Well, the thing is, Sister Evangeline is probably like one of those actors. She's like, listen, I've been on 1,000 sets. I don't care. I'm fine. I'm good. I have everything I need to have. The thing I like most from all my jobs is the paycheck at the end of the day. You know what
The
I
thing
mean?
I
Like,
like at the end of my jobs is leaving.
yeah, she's like, I get my money and I get the hell out of here, and I'm fine with that.
Cynthia said do you know what? It was lovely having Cynthia back, wasn't it?
Oh, it was so nice to see Chummy as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, it
Oh my
was. It was.
God. I
Cynthia
really
loved
wish
an
that they had
armchair.
Barbara. I really wish they'd had Barbara in there
Oh yeah,
too.
there was no Barbara. They showed her, but they didn't do any talking
Yeah.
heads with her.
I know.
Oh,
They showed Tom's best scenes, like of any, and I was just like, oh my God, Tom. Yeah.
I
yeah,
thought,
Cynthia's armchair. She said they're not comfortable, but she'd take one. I thought, why, Cynthia? That's weird.
yeah, if they're not comfortable, do take one. I also the flashbacks where you saw young Timothy. I mean, we could do that at any
I
time,
thought that.
but because we're obviously in the current where he's older, I was
Yeah.
like, God, he was so little.
So little. It
Yeah.
really,
Dr.
yeah.
Turner looked a lot younger, by the way, and Sheila has been aging very well, and he has not been aging as well. And I was like, dang, like he looked way younger when they first got together, and I was like, oh my God, I did not
Well, hang
realize
on,
how big
let's
of a
finish all
difference.
the ones, what they're saying. So you got Chummy. She said she wanted to go with a lamp, and then she made a joke about always wanting that lamp with her at all times at every set. That was quite funny. Trixie, I'll tell
Yep.
you what, she was talking about her costumes because we'll talk
Yeah.
about her costumes in a minute as well. But she wanted to keep her
That made
bright blue
sense.
suede coat.
That made sense that she would pick those.
Yeah. Do you like a bright blue suede coat?
Me?
Well,
I
both of
can't.
you. No? Good boss
Um, I mean, I actually wish they'd showed her wearing it because I can't remember what one she was talking about when I was
Oh, I thought they did show it.
No, I don't think they did
Oh,
because
did they
I
not?
thought then they were going to cut to it, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Lock.
I mean, I love the idea of it, but like I couldn't see myself like probably
Right.
just buying a blue suede coat.
Now,
Like,
Sheila wants the clock in Dr. Turner's surgery, so we all need
Sure,
to
did
keep an
it
eye out for that.
nice. Feel like my
Sister
heart.
Winifred wanted a cross. I mean, fine.
that was a boring answer. I feel like she was like, I don't know, and then she just looked down and was like, okay, I'll say this. That's what I
Although,
thought.
did you hear about Sister Winifred when she was like, people tell me I'm from the past, the way I talk and everything anyway? And I thought, oh, who else? Who else is a bit like that from the past, the way they talk and everything? It's our own very own Rebecca. So, even though, ironically, Becky hates her. So,
Well, maybe it reminds her too much of herself.
Phyllis wanted the enamel bucket with a lid.
I didn't get that.
Neither
I
did
didn't understand
I
that.
thought Becky'd understand. Bex, explain that to us.
What's with that?
It's just, I mean, things aren't as good a quality nowadays. Maybe there was a nice bucket.
That's the true fact. Made that very good. Very good. Well done for that explanation. Dr. Turner was being cheeky and he said he wants Laura Main's lucky bag that she keeps her scripts in because he was just trying to be an imp.
I think he probably is the most rascally person on set of any of them.
Yeah.
Like, I get the feeling that he's probably always making jokes, like, probably, all, you know what I mean? Like, especially because he's married to the boss, you know what I mean? It's like he
Yeah.
can kind of do whatever he
He
wants.
does what he
Like,
wants when he wants.
yeah, I just get the feeling he's probably like, oh, I'll have a bit of that, like, because what are they gonna do? Like, if they're running late because he's been, like, noodling around, like, who's gonna say anything about it, you
It
know?
must be mental writing a script for your husband to be like getting together with someone else.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being like, oh, and they kiss now on the script for me writing that for my husband, watching him with someone. I'd be like, no, thank you.
No, maybe it's,
You're gonna have
no,
to stay chase.
no,
Yeah,
maybe
but
it's like their kink. Maybe it's like their thing. Like, she, like, gets,
Don't say
you
right.
know?
We're gonna get cancelled. No one's gonna come on this episode now. On this podcast, now you've said that.
no, but I
Take
don't.
it back.
I think
Apologise. Apologise to Lady Thomas.
I don't think she's thinking of him as her husband. I think she's just thinking of the characters.
Yes, Bex is bringing it back, saying what a fantastic writer this she is that she gets lost in the characters. Jen,
Yes.
you cancel. So Mojo obviously said men, which was weird, and she should be cancelled. And then Miss Higgins was like the donkey. I'm like, what, Miss Higgins? What? That's what
I
you
will
think?
say this is my second thing that I would have is like all of the like a whole Christmas tree, vintage Christmas tree ornaments.
Oh yes, I love vintage Christmas lights.
Yes, because
Like
you
the
can't
lanterns.
get those.
No, we used to have them from the 80s, and they were my mum and dad's from like the early 70s, and
And
they were outstanding.
Yeah, coloured lights now just aren't the same
Yeah,
as those. Like their Christmas trees are next level good.
so true. Do you know what else was next level good? The prop department. It looked so exciting.
I know.
And also, do you know what blew my mind? They then spoke about going to all these locations, right? Now, we'll talk about the locations in a second, like going to South Africa and Outer Hebrides and stuff. But to take all of those props to South Africa and to know which props you bring it, like the job that was, and also like the actual task of bringing it over and making sure what was going where and all this, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. Do you reckon they would have had like a props department in South Africa to go to, or like the TV company there, and just contact them like, have you got anything from the 60s that we can have? Do you know what I mean? That they didn't have to bring over.
No, I think
ridiculous.
I think they just shipped it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, what do you think?
I think that they had some principal photography where they shipped some things there, and then I think they had a bunch of stuff that stayed in Britain. I don't think that they created everything whole cloth in Britain, shipped all of it there, and then filmed it all there, and then had to ship everything back. I can't believe that would be possible.
But I just burnt it on a bonfire afterwards.
Well, it just doesn't seem, I mean,
Definitely
it's just so expensive. Like, I mean, like I get like this, like in South Africa, like I get they had scenes, I just think,
But I'm
like,
thinking all of the medical instruments and stuff. I think they would have just brought all that with them.
Yeah. Well,
I think there was stuff that they had to create because of being there, but I also have to think that they filmed some of it in the UK and then they filmed the rest of it there, I think.
Also, Helen George talking about how much she loved South Africa. I bet she did.
Yeah.
That's where she got together with her husband. And actually, now they're not together. But were they together? I think they were together then in 2000. It was 4 years ago. I think they were together then.
I think they were together at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the attention to detail, because Sister Julianne was saying that when she's filmed opening a letter, they've actually written that letter, and it's actually.
I love that detail.
Yeah.
That was very sweet.
I love that detail,
Yeah.
but it also told me that I could never work in the prop department because I'd be writing stupid, funny notes in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being like just stupid things like if you're reading this, then you smell. Like just stuff that's not even at all funny, but I just would find it funny in the moment and then put it in the card.
It's like when you have someone's notebook and you just write halfway through a stupid message so that when they turn the page at some point, they're going to find a stupid message from you.
Yeah.
I still do that now.
That's the kind of stuff I pull. Yeah. Outer Hebrides, I love the fact that Jenny Agutter was like, oh, God, Outer Hebrides, can't be bothered.
But I think that would have been amazing. Like, how often do you go to the Outer Hebrides?
Well, she did love it in the real life. When she actually got there, she loved it and had a great time. But she was just like, ugh.
You never really, it's not somewhere you get the opportunity to just go. So I would love the fact that I was going and someone was paying for me to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Why couldn't you just go?
I mean, you could, but it's just not the.
And we're not like you. In America, you drive for like 24 hours and are like, oh, we stayed for an hour and then went back. Like over here, we're all, I think what it's called, innately lazy. And none of us would drive for that long. to go somewhere for that.
You're just
Like,
like,
it's just,
oh, it's not the kind of place you go. I'm like, it's right there. Like, if you want to
But
go, you
it's
can
not right
go.
there.
not to us, it's not, Jen.
Well, I mean, it's not like in your backyard, but I mean, like, it would not be a hard place to visit if you wanted to visit, I don't
Yeah, but
think.
I think it would be because you've got to get a ferry and stuff.
Whatever. I can't with you guys.
Yeah, but that's the point. We're so different in that respect because in America, you're like, oh yeah, it's only in like, I don't know, Arkansas. I don't know where Arkansas is. That's a really bad example. But like, you're like, oh, it's only in Alaska. I'll go over there. And then you drive like 12 days across the country and sort it. And we're just like, what? Like, no one in Britain would drive that long ever. Like, they'd just be like, what? They'd just be sick on
But couldn't you
themselves
just, but
constantly thinking about
you
it.
could just fly to Edinburgh, or you could just fly to wherever the northernmost place in Scotland is that you could go, and then
But then
go
you
from there.
because you don't have your car with you.
Yeah.
Well, that no one's hiring cars over here.
People do hire cars over here.
It's not big business though, is it?
Well, it's quite a big business. There are like companies that do it in every town.
Well, yeah, but I'm not doing it.
I think it's the mindset. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a very British mindset to be like, no. Whereas in America, they're like, it's not far. It's only 13 days driving across country, never stopping for 12 hours. Like, it's just totally fine. You can get there. Whereas we're like, 3.5 hours? No way. No. I drove to you the other day. It took me about 3 hours. And I was like, oh, it's a long
Yeah.
time.
I remember talking to somebody, like a British person, that it was like a friend of a friend or something. And they were talking about how their mom, they were like, I was like, said something about their mom, and they were like, well, yeah, I really don't see her that often. You know, she does live quite far away. And, so it's, it's like, just don't get to see her that much. And I was, it's like, I guess we could see her more, but, and I was like, oh, okay, well, how far away does she live? And he was like, I mean, maximum like an hour, like driving. And I was like,
I mean, some days it takes me an hour to get into work if traffic.
I was just like, I can't have this conversation anymore. I have to hang up. We weren't on the phone. It was in person. I was just like, okay, well, anyways, good luck with that. You're like not a good
I
son, but
mean,
okay.
fair. Fair. Thing is, though, I'm like, when I was
Uh,
in London now, when I was younger, especially, I used to be like, oh, yeah, you can just go to London and all this. But also, transport, I will say, transport, trains and stuff are so ridiculously expensive.
Oh
And
yeah, but
petrol's not
now
cheap.
London, no one
Yeah.
wants to go to London.
Well, I'm just like, when something's in London, like, there's this Van Gogh show coming up that I really want to go to. And it's like an immersive experience. Anyway, it's coming to Liverpool. So we're like, years. Because I wanted to go to London. And I thought, I'm not going down there for that. Like, it's just, you got to get back. I'm just not doing it.
It's just tiring.
well, not for a day trip. I get that. Not for a day trip, but
I mean, probably you could do it for a day trip, Jen. There's a train that takes an hour and a half.
yeah.
So I could do it. It's just
Oh.
ridiculously
Oh.
expensive. It is ridiculously expensive. And also they cancel it all the time.
How much would it be if you paid to go to that on that train
If you can
option?
get well early in advance, you can get them for like £35 train tickets.
Okay.
But most of the time you're paying like if you were paying on the day, you're looking at like 200 quid plus.
Oh, well, I know, but
Jen's like, that's not that much money.
no,
Well, I'm
no,
sorry, but you're
no,
obviously a
no, no.
billionaire.
I'm not saying that's not much money, but I'm saying like, yeah, but you're saying like on the day, it's like, yeah, but then like pick up like if you book it like a month or 6 weeks in
No,
advance,
no. Like I just thought you was asking now. You if you book it well far in advance and you get a good ticket, it's 35 quid. If you book it like in advance or whatever, it's probably going to be about 80 quid or something. It's still not cheap.
okay.
But
So how
don't forget though, Jen, you and I are used to booking things and paying for one person. The minute you start paying for four people to do something,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, the cost isn't so much of a thing. I mean, I feel like over here, like we have to, like Americans default to plane tickets, like in the way that you guys default to train tickets, I think sometimes. And, like we have to reckon with that. It's like, okay, well, can we drive there? Like, yes, no. Could we fly there? Well, we can, but like, how much does it cost? I mean, everybody has to do that calculus. Like, and I get that. I get the cost is there. Like,
I just think
for
we've got a
sure.
different mindset, America, just
I,
because you're so much bigger.
I think, yeah, I think separate from like the true logistics of like cost and everything like that, just the way of looking at something is very, very different. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Should we talk about Call the Midwife and special delivery?
I'll say this. The thing
Oh, we're
about
even talking about the Outer Hebrides.
the thing about the Outer Hebrides that I felt like she was talking about more so than like getting up there was like, oh my gosh, like it's just such a rough, cold,
Yeah,
hard, like
windy.
uncomfortable place to be. And like, am
I
I gonna
mean,
just be
no offense
like,
to anyone who lives in the Outer Hebrides you're listening, but yeah, that's it. It's not something that I would
that's
want to be doing.
that's what I took from it. Because like the thing is, like I've had this like flip side. I've had this feeling of like, oh, I'd really love to go see, like places out in the West, like Grand Canyon and stuff like that. But it's just I just know it's gonna be like it's so dry, it's so ridiculously hot that it's like, oh, what am I gonna have to contend with? So that's kind of that's how I took it.
I've been to the Grand Canyon. It's outstanding. Actually, I've got
And
a really good Grand Canyon story. So, our mutual friend that you two know, I went
yes,
over to a wedding in Vegas for her sister,
yeah.
and we went out to this wedding, and we were very young, and we consumed a lot of alcohol. And the next day, when I tell you I was hungover, I was hung over,
And
right?
can I just say for our listeners, like this is like 3 times the amount of alcohol that it would take me and Jen to be, like 10 times the amount of alcohol that it would take me and Jen.
I did used to be able to drink quite a lot, and our friend, she still can.
Yeah.
So anyway, went over to Vegas. It was amazing. We had a really good time at the wedding, blah 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 blah. But we'd booked a trip to the Grand Canyon, but we booked it a bit late. We didn't book before we went. And the only trip we could get for the Grand Canyon was this like special cowboy kind of authentic experience. And basically, we went on an aeroplane. No, we didn't. We went on a helicopter, and it was great, even though I was being sick everywhere.
I'm
And it
shaking my
was
head.
Can you imagine people who actually wanted to go on this experience and then you've got these two rocking up with you?
Well, it gets worse. So anyway, we get a helicopter and it was, we get there, everything's great. But then these cowboys met us and they were like, you're going to have to do like cowboy bareback riding or whatever of these horses. And I was like,
No.
no, I don't. I can't. And what they had to do was put us in this like car and we just lay down and slept while they dragged us to have this lunch with the cowboys. It's so shameful and awful. And then literally we had like a corn on the cob, which I threw up by a rock, and then had to go back on the back of like our friend tried to go on the back of a horse and had to get off and was sick again. It was just honestly, it was
So
shameful.
disrespectful. You know what this
So
story, you know what this story is? This is the nationality role reversal of the story of the boy that went to America and found that horrible fiance and then he came back and then she tossed his baby hat into the gutter. Like that's what this is, but like in this story the Americans are the victims to this British like crime basically. That's what this story is. On behalf of those Cowboys, I am so sad for them and like I deeply grieve this experience.
just really quick, speaking about Americans and Brits while we're on it, on TikTok at the moment, there's this thing called the tea time alarm. Have you seen it on TikTok?
Yeah,
No.
mine's blowing up as well. I
It's
literally have
amazing.
50 cups of tea a day. I don't need an alarm.
Yeah, same. But
Oh,
it's
I
just,
don't have
have you not
this.
seen the
Okay.
original clip of this guy who's obviously never
No.
left his state, let alone gone to Britain? And he's like, in London, they have the thing where they put it on over this big alarm when the king decides that everyone should have a cup of tea and everyone has to have a cup of tea. It's amazing. I think he genuinely thinks that. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I was a disgusting drunk. I'm now not.
Wasn't your
So,
helicopter pilot really funny?
yeah, he was.
Wasn't
He was
he
like, there
scared
was a
of
woman who was
flying?
hysterical with us, really worried and hysterical crying. Like, to be honest, it was probably quite good we were really hungover and being sick all the time because that would have been really annoying. So, to us, I mean, I'm sure we were
Yeah,
awful.
heaven forbid you two were annoyed on this trip.
If anyone had put you out, oh my God. No.
Oh, honestly, Jen, she was a right nightmare. She was like crying her eyes out. I don't know why her husband made it a go, to be honest. But anyway, she was like, oh, and he was like, he's like, you're worried, don't worry. I'm really worried too. And then that set her off even more. He was lols. He was like Owen Wilson. Maybe it was him. Anyway,
Oh, good.
so then, well, where are we up to? We're on this special delivery episode. So yeah, we spoke Dr. Turner. They showed the whole Dr. Turner and Sheila storylines, and then you just saw all the little bits, and that was lovely. And then you said about how young Timothy was. It was like ridiculous. And then they went all about all the romances. Now I'm going to list all the romances for you, right, that they showed. And I want your favourite out of them, okay?
Okay.
I think I know both of your favourites are both. Actually, no, I'm not sure. You've got to choose one. You're not allowed two, okay?
Okay.
Jenny and Jimmy, Chummy and Peter,
Jenny and Jimmy were really not a romance.
And they showed it as well. Tom and Trixie, Violet and Fred, Barbara and Tom, Delia and Patsy, or Lucille and Cyril.
All right, I've got two.
Okay,
No, you
yeah.
have one. I said you weren't allowed two. You got to have one.
Okay, go ahead, Bex.
Well, I
know you too well.
I'll tell you the
Oh.
two that I'm. Okay, go ahead, Bex. Go ahead.
I know what I'm going to do. My favorite lesbian relationship is Delia and Patsy, and my favorite heterosexual relationship is Violet and Fred.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Chummy and Peter and Violet and Fred.
No.
That's what I'm going to say on that.
I will say that I'm gonna vote for my ultimate number one will be Chummy and Peter because
Nice.
even though so I was tied between them and Barbara and Tom because I really really do love Barbara and Tom's love story, but the fact that Chummy and Peter were real, like it really happened in real life, and also I know I just deeply 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 like love that story, like both because I just felt it was so like relatable, like I would love for it to happen to me, like I just like it just hit me like in a really specific type of way that I'll say they're my number one.
Now, I was between Chummy and Peter,
Yeah.
Barbara and Tom, and Delia and Patsy.
Okay.
Well, you can
Now,
only have
Delia
one.
and Patsy, I love, and I would probably say them if you hadn't have said them. But sometimes I don't really like the way Patsy treats Delia.
Well, do you also dislike the way that they don't communicate with each other?
Yeah, but I think also that's maybe I don't know. I don't know.
They're
Maybe
a
that's
good
the
love
time.
story, but they were not, they didn't like blow my mind.
No.
Sorry.
Barbara and Tom, I just love them, but I don't love him so much. It's going to be Chummy and Peter.
Yeah.
I
The
love
thing is,
Barbara and Tom though.
I love like parts of Barbara and Tom, whereas Chummy and Peter, I just love all of it. Like
Yeah.
even when they showed the scene of the girls riding the bikes and they're like, okay, now we're gonna turn left. Now we're gonna turn left. And she's like, wait a minute, I don't know how to turn. I don't know how to turn. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Ah! And then they all just like splash out. And then even like she's laying on the ground, Peter's laying on the ground, and then he like kind of starts to get himself up and he like just puts his hand on her back, being like, Miss, are you, it was just like,
Well,
like,
it's
even
the
just
bit that broke
small
me, Jen, was when they
moments,
showed the birth, her birth when they went to hospital, and
Yeah.
Freddie was there with her, and Chummy was Chummy wasn't holding him. Peter was holding him, and Chummy
Yeah.
was like, and they were all so upset about it, and I was just like, it took me back to then, and I was just like, oh my God, I just loved
Oh,
Chummy
yeah.
so much, and it was just a lovely, beautiful scene.
I
And
was thinking,
Peter loved her so much.
Did she
Yeah.
keep that blanket that they all crocheted, knitted? Do you think she kept
I'm sure
that?
she did. I'm sure she did.
I hope she got to keep that.
Chummy's a very sentimental lady.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, we're talking about favourite moments. Jenny Agata's favourite scene was the wedding dress scene where the nuns all talk about it. Now, we've spoken about that and really loved that scene where they were talking about all the nuns getting married in the different dresses. And do you know what I didn't appreciate? And maybe they did. Maybe it was the actual order that did this, because I can't see Heidi Thomas just omitting this fact for Cynthia becoming what do you call it when they're not pretend,
Novitiate.
novitiate, a new nun.
Yeah.
But the fact that they just suddenly brought it back up again, they're doing it again. I thought that was weird.
Huh?
Well, they used to have it with the white dresses. Then they stopped doing it with a white dress, but then they now do it again with a white dress.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because didn't Sister Frances have a white dress when she became a nun?
I don't know,
Isn't that what you're talking about?
Well, I was talking about someone else, but yeah.
Who were you talking about?
I don't want to say because that's a spoiler.
Oh, I guess I don't know what's going on. Okay, yeah, okay. I don't know.
Who becomes a nun?
Oh my God. You've not watched this new series, have you, Bex?
Oh my God, is someone going to become a nun?
Oh my God.
Well, we can't talk about it anyway because it hasn't happened yet. It's like, so I don't want us to go ahead and say anything about it.
The thing is though, Jen, Bex has got access to this series and still hasn't watched it, and she's on a bloody fan podcast for Christ's sake.
It's the new Crown. I'll watch it.
Why won't you watch The Crown?
I will watch it. I don't have Netflix at the moment. I've been cut off.
Wait, how do you watch this show then? How do you watch catch up on?
We get it on the BBC.
BBC iPlayer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So but anyway, the point is, do we think, because they definitely do come back with the wedding dresses, so do we think that the actual order stopped using wedding dresses and then started using it again? So Heidi Thomas went with exactly what they did, or do we think they just dropped a bit by accident, dropped the ball when it was Cynthia doing it, and now they've picked it back up?
I don't think she would have dropped the ball.
Oh, fair. Jen?
No comment. I don't actually really care, to be honest.
Oh, I do. I think it's quite a
Uh,
big detail.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, do you know what I was with? Judy Parfitt's favourite scene. Out of all the scenes she's done and all the like mischievous stuff she's done and things like that, her favourite scene was bringing the shoes to Sister Evangelina's coffin, which she thought summed up her
I don't think
character.
she said it was her favourite scene to do. I think she thought it was the most poignant.
Right, right. Because also that
That's
would make sense
Monica
because,
Joan, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought she was just saying it like conversationally, just like, oh, the writing is so beautiful, like this, like remember when this happened? This was so beautiful. Yeah,
yeah,
that's how I took it.
maybe then because I've put favourite scene here from the makeup department's favourite scene was Cynthia being beaten up. And then I realised I meant their favourite, like, that they were proud of their work is what they should say there,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they probably don't really do that much makeup, honestly. Like beyond
Yeah.
Trixie and her makeup, like a lot of the girls look really like all the nuns are clearly barefaced, with minus like, like just some skin prep and then I guess like maybe like spot correction or something like that. But like Trixie wears a full face, I could see, but then I'm like, and
Yeah,
Violet.
but is that department not gooping up the babies?
Yeah, but that's not like that, like for a makeup artist, I could see them either really enjoying like either special effects makeup or some kind of like like highly stylized makeup look because that's really where they get to shine. Like just throwing like red jelly on a baby, you know what I mean? That doesn't seem that exciting to me. I wouldn't be excited if that was my job.
I did you see those boards that they had of all the, like it said Valerie at the top, and it had all the hairstyles and the pictures, like
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah,
inspiration pictures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I thought it
Absolutely.
was
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, the makeup history they have to do to like get the looks right and like
Yeah, because they wouldn't have had like, eyeliner pens and things like that. Like you can't be
hmm
using stuff that because people would be writing in, wouldn't they?
Well, and I will say this, like I follow this girl on TikTok who does all nail polish. And at first I was like, "Oh, is nail polish going to be really that interesting?" But like what's interested me about watching her videos is that she has nail polishes from every different decade. And she just recently showed some ones that were like Biba and like Mary Quant like nail polishes from like the 1960s and everything. And they're really colors that I wouldn't think of, like there was like a brown one, there's like these like avocado color, like yellow, these kind of like greens and everything. And like I think they really must try to reference, like real advertising, like real, magazines and things like that to get it accurate because I'm sure some of it doesn't seem intuitive. And then you also have to think about like Nancy, like her makeup and hair is so different than, like Trixie, no matter what,
Yeah,
even though they're both living in the same age and time and like all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
no, it's true. Cyril's favourite moment was picking up Lucille in the motorbike and sidecar,
Yeah.
BSA.
Oh,
Now,
that was very cute. Yeah.
my grandparents had a motorbike and sidecar, but it was like a BSA that was around that time. Loving that. And then they showed Claire Lynch, the costume designer. She was so stylish, wasn't she?
She was
Yeah,
such a
was.
costume designer character. Like when
Yeah,
she, like the turban, the
yeah.
scarf, the outfit, the scissors around the neck, the measuring tape, like the whole, like I was like, "Oh my God, you literally like costumed yourself as a costume designer for this interview." Like she couldn't have looked more like she belonged in the costume.
She was wearing a Scamp and Dude dress because I love the brand Scamp and Dude. They're a sustainable British brand.
Yeah,
And she was
yeah.
wearing one of their dresses. And but she was saying her favorite outfit. I love the fact that they spoke to her about her favorite outfits. And she was
Yes.
saying about Trixie's return outfit, which was a bright orange coat and the black beret.
Uh-huh.
And I
Uh-huh.
thought that was really, I just really appreciate the fact that we're speaking to her because obviously I've always wanted to, like, if you're listening, I've always wanted to speak to anyone from those, for all these things. I'd love to speak to the music department. I'd love to speak to the makeup. I'd love to speak to the costumes. I'd love to speak to the prosthesis people. I'd love to speak to the props. Like, just Jen, you could speak to the props for about 12 hours, probably.
I mean, the costume people, I definitely would love to talk to them like so much. Like, where do they get it all? Like, how much do they make? How much do they source from like vintage places? Like, do they make up dresses from vintage patterns to try to do it? Like,
I
I
bet the
mean,
BBC's got quite a good wardrobe department anyway that they
yeah.
can kind of get stuff from. Maybe it doesn't. I don't
hmm
know. Maybe
The
that's
thing
not a
is,
thing.
as well, though, with the costumes, is that nowadays, like women aren't the same shape as they were in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, women have like evolution.
Widened out.
Yes, we've expanded.
Okay.
Because if you think about vintage patterns and stuff, they're all tiny.
Yeah.
And the
Like,
average
didn't it
size of
have
women has
much
gone up.
trimmer waists and things?
Mm.
It's all the additives in food,
Yeah.
not just that. Anyway, it was all very emotive. Then they showed Reggie. They showed Reggie from the start and like all his storylines. And then
It was so
it was
sweet.
just, they just showed really loads of emotive stuff. And I'm really too hormonal for that. And then they spoke about the Turner family, saying about the family that grows with the Watchers, like their family is more real than a serial killer drama. Stephen McGann said that. And that's actually so true, isn't it? Like the fact that there's this family that have got kids that like are around the same age as my daughter and then they're growing up around the same time. That is more true to me than a serial killer documentary. And that will resonate with a lot of watchers.
And hopefully that will remain so, that a serial killer drama is very remote.
I'd like to hope that the world won't see lots of, well, we don't know. The world seems to be imploding at the moment, but yeah. Did you see the Compline Nuns girls?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And who was it that said that they love to sing with them?
Winifred.
Sister Winifred.
Yep.
She's a brilliant singer in real life, Sister Winifred.
Yeah, that made a lot of sense.
Not as good as Charlotte, who played Barbara.
Oh,
then speaking of Barbara, Phyllis doing the Lord's Prayer at Barbara's death.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was crying again when I watched that. I really
Same. And also,
was.
I forgot how joyous it was when Lucille found a church, because that was when she had the whole racism thing happening with that horrible cow. And then she actually found a church and went to it and actually felt that she was welcome. And I really appreciate that for Lucille. I forgot how emotive that episode was as well. Then they spoke about location. They didn't actually talk about the place where they film it, which is where I want to go, where we want to go to the place in Chatham, don't we?
And how far outside of London is that? Is it like a ways out?
I mean,
it's not, I wouldn't say, it's in Kent. It's not in London, is it?
The historic dockyard tour is, let's have a look. It's right near Ninja Warrior. We can do two things at once.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God. I may have to pass on that one.
I'll be able to do it by then, hopefully. All my physio's going really well. Oh, by the way, we've had lots of other people asking how I'm doing. I'm doing really, really well. I've got, it's still weird. I'm not gonna lie, it's still a slog, but I'm getting there. I'm doing really well. Right.
When do you think you'll be able to start the Canadian Air Force routine?
A few weeks, hopefully, maybe a bit more. I've actually got an ACL class, fitness class starting tomorrow. I've graduated from my normal physio, and I actually have this class starting tomorrow. I'm terrified, Jen. There's like a 17-year-old who plays football in this class. I'm just like, why have you put me, a 43-year-old who's just really unfit, in this class with the 17-year-old?
But everybody's coming from the same place, though.
Yeah, but he's loads ahead of me. Other people are as well.
Why do you think they're loads ahead?
Because they've been doing it longer. This is my first week coming up.
Oh, I know, but they'll honestly, I bet you they will be the most encouraging and supportive people because they've been exactly where you are. Like people who've had their ACLs torn have just had, I mean, you know what I mean? Like no one's gonna, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna go well.
It's not even in Greater London.
It's 1 hour, 6 minutes from London.
From central London.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can, when we go that way, we can do the southeast coast. It'll be nice.
It'll be fine. It'll be lovely. And then we'll do Ninja Warrior just to round it all off. So.
You will, and I will be so excited to cheer for you.
Also, can I say, I didn't tear my ACL, I actually ripped it.
Ripped it, okay.
Okay. What do you call it? What do you call it? What's it called when you snapped it? I snapped it.
Ruptured it.
Oof.
No, I snapped it. Do you know, someone I met today, their son went to hospital today because they went to football today, and they did their ACL today, but they don't know how bad the damage is yet. And I was like, I really hope they've just, torn it and then it's still horrendous, but you know what I mean? Anyway, that's by the by. Ninja Warrior is a go. So then they had Anne Trickleback, the executive producer, which was very exciting. And she was saying that I really like the way they were getting people who work behind the scenes saying about their favourite storylines or what storylines touch them the most. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it was also just quite exciting to see someone else behind the scenes. And she was saying that she liked the Mr. and Mrs. Gellin storyline. You know, when it's Baker and his wife's down in the house and she doesn't want to leave the house. And Crane had a whole thing with Sergeant Wolf here and blah, blah, blah. But she was saying it reminds her of her own parents' relationship. And I was just like,
oh. You know what scene? There's two scenes and they're kind of the same energy or the same spirit, I think. But if I was like in this documentary, which I'm not, but I'll just say it anyway. Two scenes that I absolutely...
I mean, we basically are.
Yeah. That basically they just both had me like just really like sobbing from like this like deep place. But anyways, when Sister Evangelina, they don't know what to do for her birthday and they can't spend any money, so they get all the kids that she gave birth to from like all ages
Well, the one she gave
come and give her flowers, and they each say thank you, and you know, just and they're all so sweet and so cute and so beautiful and like so touching. And then the scene when they have the flower show for Poplar, and Sister Monica Jones says, "Oh, these are the flowers of Saint Raymond Nonatus," and they lay out the baby blankets on the ground, and all the moms come and put their newborn babies on the blankets, and it's so sweet. And then in that episode, there was a family that had just lost their baby, and so they have a photo of the baby that they put in the center on a little like plaque thing, like where the statue of Nonatus is, and then it zooms out and you just see all these like happy, beautiful, cooing babies. And both of those scenes I just sobbed, but like
You know what I also really like about that last scene as well? Everyone's like, oh God, Sister Monica Jones doing it, and we rubbish. Like they're all like rolling their eyes, like, oh, she's not even done anything. And then she turns up and it's like more powerful and better than anything. I think that was also quite good for like making everyone check themselves.
Well, and truly, like, I gotta give her credit because for a character that at times like absolutely annoys me like to heck and back, when she is good, she is really good. And I do have to give her credit when she's hitting the mark, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but also just being an older female. I think, you know, we've had those episodes and stuff where they say middle-aged women are kind of erased, no one even sees them. Like the same for older women as well, more elderly women and things. And you know, they're just there like, oh gosh, sure, no one cares what you're doing, or you're gonna do a rubbish job, we'll just give you, you know, we'll give you the bandages to roll up and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes, you know, it does show that, you know, everyone's validity is not gone just because you're aged.
I agree with you. Believe me, I 1,000% agree with you. The only thing is that I think Sister Monica Jones given them a lot of reasons to be like sit in a corner and roll some bandages, young lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she's done a lot of like saucy stuff.
I have mentioned this before as well, but then they spoke about Heidi Thomas. So Heidi Thomas came back on and she was talking about how she uses medical journals. And can I just say, we did tell you this, guys. We did tell you when we went to Gloucester. Although actually, this came out after we went to see her. No, this came out before we went to see her. So loads of the people listening to us would already have known that. So we're thinking we're doing like a hot take. Been like, guess what, guys? Heidi Thomas uses medical journals. She's already done a big episode on national TV telling everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the first time I've seen this. I didn't see this when it first came out, and I don't know why.
I don't think I did. No, I didn't. This is the first time I've seen it, and the last time I've seen it.
Do you know what I really did love about this episode as well? I don't know if you clocked this, Jen, but they showed all the Christmas specials and Christmas stuff, and the first scene they showed was the Boxing Day 1962 sign that came up.
I did see that. Yes. I love that sign, you know? Like, I love that they put tinsel on the edge. Like, I think that's a great holiday tradition. More people should do it. More people should do it. You know? Just think about those commemorative photos you could have and look back and be like, what holiday was this? Oh, wait, look, this is the one. 1962. Yeah.
No comment, Bex?
No.
Well, I don't think you really noticed the sign that much, Bex. I don't think that you really cared about it that much. Didn't really think it was a big plot point or anything. So, you know, I'm not surprised. That's fine.
Well, what I picked up on when they talked about the Christmas specials was the Turner's Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Which I've already said that I covet. But what I hadn't realised is that when Angela and May have made Christmas decorations, they get them out year on year.
I love that.
You should do that anyway, shouldn't you?
Yeah, families do that, but the attention to detail to do that on the show.
Oh, yeah.
I want Sheila's mince pie
That's
recipe.
my favorite part.
Those mince pies looked freaking delicious. And I also want someone else to like make them because I mean, I love to bake. I'm the baker in my household, but
mince pies, big things over there.
Not to me, they're not. I mean, they exist. Like people know about them and stuff, but I don't.
But they don't have them in every shop, like.
No,
you couldn't just honest.
No. Not that I've never seen them in every shop. No.
Oh, I follow someone. So we went to university with him. I don't think you two know him. I used to know him. And it's not anyone important or exciting. It's someone who was in the rucksack. It wasn't like no like special X or anything. I made it sound like it was like this special person in my life that no one knew. Like no, we were just barely acquaintances. But I'm friends with him on Facebook. And every year he does this mince pie tasting test, and he tastes them from all different places and does like a really good review. It's very exciting. I look forward to it every Christmas.
Oh,
you know what I had this year? They were mince pies, but then on the top they had like frangipan.
Oh, I couldn't ever.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It was
does sound delicious. Do you know what I like? When they kind of cut out a star or something. Usually I do like a star shape, I'm not gonna lie. And you can see a bit of the mince pie underneath.
Yes.
I like that.
Sheila's had that. Sheila's had that,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, guys, wait a minute. So I have to tell you, I should take a photo of it for the Instagram. But before I had my big move, I was at a vintage fair with a friend of mine, and we were looking around, and I love like I love vintage in general, but like I love like vintage kitchen stuff, big surprise. And I found a set, and it was white. It was like a tin, but it was white on bottom and red on top, and it said canapé and something else. And it's this little tin. It's like this big. I'm holding up my fingers. Listeners can't see.
It's
But
like
anyways,
half the face.
yeah, maybe it's like 4 or 5 inches across. That's how big it is. And inside is a collection of all these little cutters. And they're
Ooh.
like really funky shapes. There's like a heart there. I'll send you guys a photo. There's like a heart, there's like a leaf, there's wacky shapes. Anyways, so I'm like, "Oh my God." And I was like, why do I need this? Why am I going to buy this? But I bought it, of course, because I just couldn't resist. It was too cute. And I was like, "Well, I'll figure out a way, okay?" And in my mind, I'm thinking like, and this is very much, Britain's people I know do this, but like vol au vent, like those things. I always see them on the British baking show.
I can't tell you the last time well, I don't eat stuff like that anyway, but Bet, when's the last time you ate or made a vol au vent?
At like parties and stuff, right?
I
Even if you
know.
buy
I'm
like the
not
pre-made
going to
ones.
I mean, in the 80s, I think they were more of a thing.
Okay, well maybe anyway, long story short, I was like, I don't think I eat like this now either. It's like not, but I was like, okay, I have to have it. So fast forward, funnily enough, I was back visiting my friend in the city that I moved from, and we went to a vintage shop, totally different than where I got the first one, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this." And it was a bigger tin, but same exact coloring and writing and everything. And it said something else on the top of it. It was like cookie and something or whatever. I'll send you a photo. And inside of it was like it was like they were all the same cutters, but like twice the size. So you could do like it was
Wheat bit stuff.
yeah. It was all for like cutting out like, but it made me think of it because it's
Ooh.
exactly the kind of cutters that you would use
Jen,
if you
this
were
is your
gonna.
destiny. Did you buy
I
it?
I did buy it. Yeah, of course I couldn't
Yes.
resist. And
You
I was
bought both.
I bought both, yeah. And I was like, this is the kind of thing, and it made me think of it because it's exactly the size that you would need if you were gonna cut like a little star shape out of the top of a mince pie, or if you were gonna do like,
Jen, this is like the start of a
yeah,
story where people have like started like really big, amazing baking businesses or something. Like,
I
I saw
know,
this and I had to do this, and
I know, I know, I know.
that's
Watch the
exciting.
watch the space.
And also
Watch the
watch our
space.
our social media because I'll put them up.
I will. I'll go take photos of them after we record, so you can put them when we air this episode.
Amazing.
They're a really cute set. I will say the only thing about them is that they're old, and so every time I use them, I have to like wash them and dry them because I just like
I
I don't
mean,
know.
you probably should be washing and drying stuff after you use it anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but with cutters, you don't want like a crusty bit of
Yeah, I'm
filling
like,
that's stuck right in a nook from like the 1950s and then it works its way out on your cookie.
yeah, you just have to be extra careful. So I have to practice like extreme hygiene when I
Nostalgia
use them.
dust.
Yes, exactly.
They were talking
Exactly.
about joy and abandon, which I think is the best part of the show for me. They were talking about the fact that there's all this serious stuff they talk about, but then they showed all these scenes that was just all joy and fun and them all having loads of fun together. Because I think what we've spoken about before as well is how we've all identified, because when we first became friends, we all identified with how these young girls who were all the midwives were all living together. And we all
Yeah.
identified with
Yeah.
that because that's how we met at university. And now we identify with Nurse Crane and Miss Higgins, their
Yes.
friendship.
Yes.
But the fact that they
Yes.
have this joy and abandon, and they do have silly scenes, I think that's what really makes this show as well, because it shows the humour
Yeah.
of the time and of London, like British sense of humour and all that kind of stuff. I just think it's absolutely outstanding, and I really appreciate them talking about that.
Yeah.
And then they did
Completely
a big
agree.
thank you at the end to us,
Yes.
well, to you listeners, because you watch the show, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to us because you're not listening for our content. I can say that for nothing. Saying about well done for loving this amazing show. It's sincere and beautiful, and it is sincere and beautiful. And then
It
they
is
did a really
sincere.
lovely thank you to the past and present crew, cast and crew, and I thought that was so lovely.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It is one of the most sincere shows I think I watch in my life. Like in terms of its intention and heartfeltness. Yeah,
It
I would
speaks
say
to us.
that.
It speaks to women. It speaks for women. It's about women. I love it.
Well, you know what I genuine I mean, I think I've said this before. And sorry, Bex, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. I just don't always want to be like jumping in. But the thing that there's a clip of Sister Monica Joan that she says, but it's a clip of her like taken at somewhere in early on in the series, but she says, from the cradle, we deal with life at its commencement and at its end. And I truly feel like the show does an amazing job of showing every stage of life and every, with all of the stages of life being equally important, equally valid, equally human, all of the, like nobody's off the hook, like no one is kind of disregarded. And I think that is a very rare thing in our modern culture, like, across the world. Like, I mean, I can only speak for the culture that I am exposed to, but the entertainment and everything that I consume, the culture that I consume, there are not many representations of, especially so women focused, but also so expansive and like life focused. You know what I mean? Like to talk about people who are older, to talk about people who are, dealing with, various different disabilities, just coming from all walks of life, like even different, like, and especially the discussion of people who are really struggling with like low income, poverty, like those kind of economic hardships with such heart and such care. I really love that.
Do you know what I like?
I know I've said it before, but anyway.
No, we both say it again from the rooftops. What I really like is this may sound a bit weird, but I'm not a very schmaltzy person. Well, I'm not a schmaltzy person.
No, you're
But
not.
like, I'm not. But it does make you sometimes kind of step back and appreciate your life a bit more. Like you're watching stories that are really emotive and like it makes you appreciate them, people in your family, because obviously it's not just about like romantic relationships. It's about relationships with children. It's about relationships with grandparents. It's about, do you know what I mean? And I think it really helps you kind of not romanticize, but kind of romanticize those relationships a bit more, where you don't really stop and think in real life, about your relationships as much. And I really like that it helps you kind of appreciate your life a bit more as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got that across well, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't think about things like that. And I think, you know what? We should be appreciating our lives as we're living it, because life is precious, life is short, and we should appreciate it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's a lot of people on the show who go through really, really hard things, And it's like, oh, I'm so glad I've never had to go through something like that, Like, I mean, we've all had our individual hardships in our own lives. Absolutely. Nobody, I think, none of the three of us have had, quote, easy lives. We've all had struggles and stuff. But yeah, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful. Yeah, there you go.
So next, the next 10 years.
Well, and you guys, knowing Brits, y'all make shows for decades. So I would not be surprised if this show was just one of those ones where it just keeps going and going.
I do really hope so. But the problem is, obviously, like I was born in 81 in a hospital. Like my brother was born in 79 in a hospital. Like, it just my husband was born in 76 in a hospital, like it's only 5 years from where the show is now in real life. Tell you what though, I've watched series 14, guys. You two haven't. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but OMG, I was not prepared for the ending of series 14.
Oh my God, you're just making me want to watch it now because I'm so
Why not, Bex? You should watch it. You should watch it. I will say this.
Why are you not watching it?
I'm just saving it.
What for?
Something special.
I just saw something within the last week or so that it was finally on PBS, and so I do need to go through and watch it.
It starts in March in America. Has it started?
I think it has, and I have PBS Passport, which means that even if they're airing them every week, like because I have the access with the subscription, I can watch them all. So I'll probably go ahead and just go like watch them.
To be ahead of you then, Bex.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for the last episode. It was a shocker. Thank you so much for listening, and we shall see you next week.
Yep. Bye, guys.
I believe we're at the end of another series.
I know. Bye-bye.